Hi everyone. Right, today I want to try and tackle Art Journal Prompts Steampunk page. I am completely out of my comfort zone with this, but I've decided that I want to try and use some metal elements in mine. I've got quite a few bits and pieces from my jewellery stash. Many of you know that I used to make my own jewellery, so I have got quite a few bits and pieces. This is what I want to use as my focal image. So I'm going to make some kind of butterfly. This is a piece of chain that I got from the scrap store in Worcester when I originally joined the Worcester one, and I got a bag of broken bits and pieces of jewellery, and I thought these would be ideal to make cobble together an industrial style butterfly. The key I picked up from the Malvern flea market, which is quite a famous event here and is featured regularly on the antiques find shows here. And then I've got a few bits and bobs from my jewellery stash. This heart here is from a toggle clasp, so I thought I could use the heart. I bought a pack of these wings with I bought these a while ago with the intention to make some of the bead angels, and haven't got round to making those yet. I've got a couple of spacer hearts that I thought I could incorporate. Some of these spacer beads here, and then I've got a little tin of container of watch components that I'd bought with steampunk in mind. I plan to use these in jewellery making, and the trouble is they're not much good because some of them have got really sharp bits. I ordered these on the internet, and I need to snip off all the sharp bits. These ones here are flat, so I'm not going to cause myself or anyone else any harm. I want to mount my butterfly on a piece of corrugated card, but first of all I've got some, let me put that to one side. I've got some other bits and bobs that I thought I could incorporate. I've got some of the Tim Holtz Ideology. Let me just see if it says what this one is. What is it? It's the tissue wrap, the melange. So, and I've got a few pieces of scraps here, and I thought I could glue those down onto my base. I'm working on a piece of thin mount board for this because paper would just be too light for the weight of all the bits and bobs that I'm using. So I've got some of these. Some of these are quite industrial as well, so I thought those would be ideal for my background. And then I've pulled out a couple of stencils. These are Andy Skinner stencils. I think that one is as well. And then I've got this one here with some cogs on. I think I got that one from a craft fair somewhere. So I thought maybe I could incorporate some of those. The only stamp I've got really that's relevant, I suppose I could use some of my butterflies. I've got this stopwatch, and then I've got some of the Tim Holtz Ideology rub-ons that I bought a while ago and just have been hoarding, haven't got round to using them, so I thought I could use some of those as well. So let me have a clear up and then I'll come back. First of all, I'm going to use some Mod Podge or matte medium, probably, actually thinking about it, to glue my Tim Holtz pieces down on my page. So as soon as I've done that, I shall come back, but it will be something like this. Okay, so that's how I'm looking at the moment. It's all glued on and dried and trimmed around the edges. This is cut again to the same size as my art journal, but whether I'll put it in there as it is or photocopy it and have this as a wall hanging, I don't know. It depends on how it turns out. But I've got some colours of Radiant Rain. These are Luminart products, and there's a company here called I think it's Craft Clearance, and I've had several products from them, and these were, I don't know, I think they were $1.95 each, and I think I got all of the colours that I could, and the colours are just absolutely gorgeous. But you have to be careful because sometimes they do clog. But you've seen me use some of these before. You've seen me use this one here, which is the Golden Bamboo, and this is Pink Grapefruit. And so I'm just going to spray some of these down. Let's try the Golden Bamboo. But the colours are just gorgeous. I love these, and the shimmer on them is just stunning, absolutely stunning. I am also going to use some of this one, which I think is Copper. In fact, I'm going to go for Jasper Red, I think, first. And then we'll use a bit of Copper. But as I say, they do have a tendency sometimes to clog, and this is going to be one of them. Hang on, let me grab a baby wipe and see if I can unclog it. I've tried putting them into some of my cheap spray bottles from China as well, but the trouble is, because they've got mica in them, that hasn't really worked either. But you can use them as watercolour paint anyway, so it's hit and miss with these. I think they've changed the packaging now. Let's have some of that, and then we'll have some of this one, which is the pink grapefruit. There we go, and I'm going to leave that to dry, and then I'll come back. Right, so that's how my page is looking now. I gave the colours a bit of a dry, the ink a bit of a dry, then I went over it with my kitchen towel, and then I added some more colour where I wanted it, gave it a quick dry, and went over it again with the toilet towel, the kitchen towel, before giving it a final dry. And then I think what I want to do is add some of these rub-ons. I thought about adding modelling paste, but the thing is, these are really textured, and I don't want that to affect things when I come to glue these down. So I think I'm going to add some more interest over the top with some of these rub-ons. And I thought, seeing as I've got the butterfly in the background here, oh, whoops-a-daisy, hang on a minute, how do these work? I think it's like that, isn't it? I've not used these before, so I think I'm going to have some butterflies and the crown just in the bottom here. So let's rub these on with my lollipop stick. Right, as you can see, I managed to get the clock in as well, because I printed some of it off by accident and thought, so no, that's a happy accident. So, and I'd just like to have these numbers in here too. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to switch off and do this, because I need to get my head really close so that I can see what I'm doing. But I'm just rubbing it with my lollipop stick. Right, so that's how my page is looking at the moment, and I've just grabbed my foot scrubber and I've just roughed up the edges of this piece of corrugated cardboard a bit more, and then I want to add some Inca Gold to that. So I'm going to grab a baby wipe, a slightly damp baby wipe, and that's how I'm going to add that on. And I'm doing this in the silver. Let me just move that out of the way a minute. So I'm just going to add some of the Inca Gold over this, trying to get into the edges. Right, so I'm coming back in with my Memento ink, and I just want to go around the edges like this, just to sort of, you know, grunge it up a bit. Go over the top of that, grunge it up a bit more. There we go, that's fine. So I'm happy with that. So I can put that to one side for the time being. But then I want to add some Inca Gold to my butterfly, and let me have a think. I think I'm going to have that in green. So I'm going to add some Inca Gold to that. In fact, let's see if I can do it. I might need to give it a quick sand. Let's have a, no, that's going to work fine, you see. So I'm going to go over all the components like this until everything is covered, the wings and all. Okay, hang on, am I in frame? There we go, that's a bit better. I did end up sanding these pieces down a bit. It just, the Inca Gold wouldn't take. You can see how shiny it is on the back. And I just want to bring in the Memento ink pad, that everything's looking a bit shiny, and I want to grunge it all down. So I'm just going to go over the pieces with, you see that looks much better. And then I've got these, in fact I want to ink around the edges as well. See if it'll take. So I just went over these with the Inca Gold. I used the red on the hearts, and gold on the other pieces. I used a mixture of green and red on the butterfly pieces, and I've already had a dabble at going over that with some of the black, but I think I shall add a bit more. I just, you know, in steampunk theme, it's just grungy, so I just want mine to have, you know, that grungy look. So let's go around the edge of the heart first. And of course this will make it pop on the page more as well. I don't know whether I'm going to use any of the cogs. I was having a look and I just think that it might be. Let's see if I can get some black on this, on the raised bits, just to sort of really grunge that out too. That's better. And then I did think that I would use a couple of the cogs, but not everything. I think I'm going to have to give those a sand. Those are already sort of a bit grungy, and let's add a bit of black to those. And then I can let that dry and then wipe it off. And let's add a bit more of the black around the edges of the wings as well. So I'm going to carry on doing this, and then I need to have a think about what glue I'm going to use to try and attach them. I think I'm going to use a mixture of my hot glue gun and maybe glossy accents. Right, whilst my glue gun is drying, that's how my background is looking, and I want to go and ink around the edges on this as well. So I'm just going to go around that just to create a nice frame for it. And I'm going to go over this a couple of times because I want it nice and black. I've had a dabble at how I think I want my page laid out, and I think I want it something like this. And as I say, I'm going to use a mixture of different glues. I'm going to use a hot glue gun to adhere this here. And then maybe some E6000 and glossy accents, as I say, for these parts here. But I'm going to go and do that off camera so that I can have a play. Some glues might work, some might not. And I'll explain what I've used when I'm finished. Right, so everything's glued down now. I ended up using my hot glue gun to glue the heart on, glossy accents to glue these parts down. Oh, I did use the glue gun for this one here because it was hollow. The glue gun to glue the background down, and then glossy accents for everything else. So I'm just going to have to be a bit careful with this until it's completely dry. But I just feel that it needs just a couple more bits of detail really. So I'm going to bring my stickers back, and I'd quite like to have these gentlemen down here, something like that. So let me centralise it with that, and then I'm going to rub these on. I've found that rather than using, whoops daisy, the cat's appeared. Right, rather than using the lollipop stick, I didn't find that particularly successful, so I'm going to use this paintbrush, just the back of the paintbrush, and I'm going to rub these on. I'll add a couple of bits of detail, and then when I'm done I'll come and show you what it looks like. And here we are, here's my finished page. So this is my take on Steampunk. I'm really pleased with it. What have I done? I added a few more bits and pieces of detail. You saw me add the gentleman with the top hats. These are all rub-ons that I've added at the end. I've added the hand, some numbers at the bottom, some numbers, a ruler and some stars across the top, and a few more numbers down the right hand side, just to try and balance the page out a bit more. I've inked more heavily around the edge, as you can probably see, and then I've glued it into my journal using glossy accents. This is a new journal because I used my last page in the old one last week. This is a scrapbooking journal from Hobbycraft. It was £5. It's just scrapbooking cardstock. I prefer to work this way. I usually work on a piece of mixed media paper and then glue it into my journal afterwards. I just find it easier to manoeuvre the paper around, for one, and also that it takes the pressure off me of worrying about, oh my goodness me, what if I make a mistake? Because if I make a drastic mistake, I can bin it and start again. That's just the way I prefer to work. I know that some people just prefer to work in a journal, so this is just my way of doing things. Anyway, I hope you liked that. If you did, please give me a thumbs up and let me know what you think in the comments below. So take care everyone, and I'll see you all again soon. Bye for now.